All right, what we're going to be doing here is trying to graph a quadratic function of the form f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Now, in all honesty, we should be a little bit familiar with this form because we talked about translations shifting horizontally and vertically. X squared is something we know looks like a u, and so this just corresponds to some sort of shifting around of a u. So we're going to use that. We're also going to use our knowledge of a to figure out whether or not it opens up or down. So first thing I'll notice here is that a in the problem is -2. Okay, that's the number in front. Now this tells us that our parabola must open downward. Okay, and that means that it has some sort of maximum point. Okay, now that we've done that, I'm actually going to find the vertex. Now the vertex of our parabola is that point, that top point, and it can be found by just looking at these two numbers. The number inside of here, right here, is -3. If you take the opposite of -3, +3, that will be the x-coordinate of your vertex. The 8 here, you don't have to take the opposite, just the number itself, gives us the y-coordinate of the vertex. So here's what we have so far. If I draw a quick little graph, if you go out 3 and up 8, we have a point here, it's our vertex, it's that highest point. We know that our parabola opens downward. The only thing left to really figure out is where does this parabola hit the x-axis? Well, first of all, we know that it does, since it opens down. If in this problem the a had been positive, we would know that it opens upward and it doesn't hit the x-axis, and we wouldn't want to go try and find the x-intercepts. But since it does, let's now try and find the x-intercepts. To find the x-intercepts, or what are called the zeros of the function, what we'll do is we'll take our quadratic and we'll set it equal to 0. Okay, now if we can find the solutions to this quadratic, we have the x-intercepts. So what I'll do is I'll notice that this is something squared. What I'm going to be able to do is move the 8 over. So I have -2. Okay, I move that over, I get a -8 on that side. I'm going to divide both sides by -2. Remember, on the right side, a negative divided by a negative is positive. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then last now, we just take the square root on both sides. So square root here, plus or minus, don't forget that. On the left side, we get x minus 3. On the right side, square root of 4 is 2, so we have plus or minus 2. Now what we'll do is we'll add 3 to both sides. X equals, let's see, 3 comes on this side, plus or minus 2. So we have two answers here. 3 plus 2, which is 5. And then 3 minus 2, which is 1. Those are our two x-intercepts. So if we come to our graph and we put a point at 1, and we put a point at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we know that our parabola opens downward and goes through those two points, and we've graphed the quadratic function. Now this is the way you do it whenever it looks like this. In the next example, we're going to take a look at a different quadratic in a different form, and our technique's going to be a little different.